There once was a village that found itself in quite a pickle. They had to choose their next mayor. The village was a wonderful place. It was known far and wide that the people living in the village all ate together, learned together, laughed together. They cried when they lost something important, and they celebrated when they found something important again. Many people felt that the reason it was such a great place to live was because of the mayor. She had helped run the village for as long as anyone could remember. When she first started, she suggested a rule. In addition to paying taxes, people were also to give something of their hearts. People were expected to give love or care or practical help. It meant people were expected to visit a neighbor if they were sick, help fix someone's roof if it was leaking, put a fire out, or fetch the children when it was time to come in. They decided that what made their mayor such a great leader was the love she encouraged and practiced. They wanted their next leader to be someone who also could engage, encourage, and practice love. They decided that their next mayor would be the candidate with the best heart, a perfect heart. Because there were so many candidates, they decided to choose the person with the perfect heart by using empirical evidence. So they got an MRI machine to take a look at the heart of each candidate. Many hearts came into view, but none of them appeared to be perfect. Some seemed way too small to love everything about the village, and some seemed far too big to make some of the hard decisions. Most were torn and mended and patched together. It took a long time. One by one, young and old, big and small, people revealed their hearts. The villagers watched and waited, hoping to find someone with a perfect heart, someone they could love and trust, someone whose heart was truly a holy place.
And our story continues. After almost every heart in the village had been tested and showed rips and tears, a stranger walked into the village. He smiled boldly and confidently. The stranger said, "I've heard of your contest, and I'm here to claim the prize, the leadership of this village and the big salary that goes with it, because I have the most perfect heart in all the land." And some in the crowd rolled their eyes. This was not the first time they'd heard such a claim. The bold and the brash usually had hearts that were much too small. When the stranger went through the MRI machine, no one was expecting to see the image that came into view. A perfectly shaped, perfectly sized heart in perfect condition. The stranger said, "There, you can see for yourself. My heart is perfect. I have done nothing but care for my heart since the day I was born. My parents made sure that everyone who crossed my path loved me unconditionally. I have been lavish with attention and given the best care. Because of that, my heart has grown to be the envy of all the land. You can see there's not a scratch on it. It is the heart of a true leader." The people of the village stood and stared. No one could deny what was being said was true, but somehow something seemed wrong. Although the machine showed that he had a perfect heart, there was something that didn't feel right. Something about the way the stranger looked at the people, how he spoke with such entitlement. The stranger was quite different from their previous mayor, although it was something they couldn't put their finger on. Each and every person felt it in their own heart. Then an elder came into the center of the room. stand right in the middle. This was the elder who often stood by the village well and helped people draw water. The elder knew everyone who lived in the village. The elder had a kindly face. The elder said, "Good people, we lost our leader, and that has made us anxious. As we thought about who we would get to replace her, we reflected on who we've been, who we are, and who we most wish to become. Together, we have decided that all of the qualities we want in our next mayor, our next leader, is the most important quality is the ability to love. We want someone who will encourage and practice the kind of love that has helped us care for one another, the kind of love that has built a deep trust among us. We thought we could recognize a perfect heart by their having a perfect heart. And so we have stared into this machine to find a heart that has no flaws. And that is what we seem to have found in this stranger. But he is not someone with a perfect heart. He's someone whose heart has never been broken. A perfect heart is more than that. Then the elder went through the MRI machine, and the elder's heart appeared on the monitor. A roar came up from the crowd. The elder's heart was far from perfect. It had more scars, rips, and tears than any other heart in the village. There were even pieces missing. It was a funny hodgepodge patchwork heart. The elder said, "This old heart of mine, I suspect, is like many of yours. It's worn with age, broken in places, mended with time and attention. It has been held together by consoling stories, memories of things that once were, and hope of the way that things might still become. Wisdom and reason have both torn it apart and pieced it back together again. The scars are made from sympathy and faith. The scars actually make it stronger than it once was. I believe this heart of mine is more perfect than a heart without any scars." Of course, this led the stranger to protest that he had won the contest fair and square. He waved his arms wildly. The people of the village stood in the middle of the square. On one side was the stranger with a physically perfect heart. On the other side was the elder with a worn and wounded heart. The villagers didn't know what to do. A few started to argue, but most felt frustrated and anxious. They stood in the middle of the village square, paralyzed with indecision, trying to decide which of the two candidates they should trust. As they wondered what to do, the village singers and musicians offered up a song. Yes.
Part 3, continued. As people looked from the stranger to the elder, trying to make up their minds, someone called out, "What would a perfect heart choose in this situation? Let them answer that question, and then we can decide." The stranger, with the physically perfect heart, stepped up first.
A good heart always remains strong to its true of course. It doesn't waver and falter. A good heart always makes the right choice based on the most perfect of reasoning. The evidence sure of a thing, a good heart never chooses a course that might lead to regret. This elder has wasted time and attention on things that have led to heartache. The wounds on their heart show the number of times they've loved and lost. The many ways a heart has been broken, the elder's heart has felt emptiness and loneliness. Follow me, and I promise you'll never know loss. You'll never know a disappointment because I understand what it means to have a perfect heart.
It's true. I have followed down many paths that led to disappointment and heartache. And there's a reason for that. Do you see that scar? The one that runs down the middle? It was the first time I'd ever had a broken heart. There was someone I really liked, but I was afraid to show my feelings. I was afraid I'd say something silly. I was afraid I'd be rejected. I never said anything, and then they moved away. I never got the chance to say how I felt. Since then, my life has been about taking risks. Little ones where I let others know I liked them. Big ones where I opened my heart and my world to people. Even when I didn't know what would happen next. I made best friends with people I knew would move away. I watched people and pets I loved get sick. I even watched if some of them died. And I chose to be with them all the way, even though I knew it would hurt more than I could have ever imagined. I stayed with the woman down the road when her son left home, even when she cried and cried for days, even though I couldn't think of anything to say. By the time she stopped crying, both of us could feel a deep bond between us. I risked losing friends by standing up for people who were treated badly for being different. But I never let fear stop me, or the risk of being hurt. Because every time I have loved truly, deeply, and honestly, my life became a little more worthwhile. My scars are proof that I've had my heart broken, but I wear those scars proudly, because each one is a badge that says I tried over and over to say yes to life. I've been hurt because there are things in life worth hurting for, and every one of them has a name, a face, and a story.
As the elder spoke, the people drew closer until they were sitting close by. Watching the villagers, the stranger knew that he would not be the next mayor. He was sad. It was enough of a heartbreak that it became his first scar. But it was also his first glimpse of love and trust like he'd never known before. It was his first glimpse of how love and trust could make a difference in the ability to love and be loved, and to be deeply happy. So the stranger walked over to join the other villagers besides the elder. The decision was made. The elder would be the next mayor. It was clear to everyone that their original idea of a perfect heart had misled them. The person they really wanted to lead them, the person they could trust, the person who could best accompany them on their journey through life, was someone who understood how to give love and receive love. The end.